Hello, welcome to Stay Sleepy, a calm corner where stories drift like soft waves in the night. I'm Alex, your narrator, here to guide you into a world of peace and dreams. Each night, we slow down together, the lights fade, voices soften, and stories begin to whisper. Here, words move gently, helping your mind rest and your body unwind. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and let the quiet carry you away. You're safe, you're calm, and it's time to stay sleepy. Tonight, I'll take you somewhere far away, to a quiet night under the stars in ancient Athens, a place of marble temples, olive trees, and soft sea winds drifting through the hills. The world is calm here. The streets are silent, and above, the stars glow like tiny fires, watching over a city that's already dreaming. As you listen, let the rhythm of your breath slow down. Let the noise of the day fade, like the tide retreating from the shore. You don't need to think or try. Just listen and let the stillness find you. We'll walk together through peaceful gardens and moonlit paths. You'll hear the soft hum of the night, the quiet echo of ancient stone, and the whisper of leaves in the wind. So, get comfortable. Close your eyes if you'd like, and let's begin. A night under the stars in ancient Athens. The sun hung low above the hills of ancient Athens, its light spilling across marble rooftops like liquid gold. The air was warm and still, carrying the scent of wild thyme and olive leaves. Far below, the city exhaled, a quiet sigh at the end of a long sunlit day. Soft shadows stretched between white stone houses. A breeze wandered through the narrow streets, brushing gently over clay pots filled with flowers. The hum of the day faded slowly, like a lyre string falling silent. The sound of sandals against stone grew softer, slower, until only the whisper of the wind remained. On the edge of the city, the great temple of Athena glowed in the evening light. Its marble pillars caught the last rays of the sun, shining like candles against the coming dusk. Birds circled lazily above, their wings catching the golden glow, before settling into their hidden nests. Down below, small oil lamps flickered to life one by one. Their light shimmered across window ledges, bathing the streets in warm amber tones. The people spoke in quiet voices now, Soft laughter, a few words exchanged, and then silence. Even the air seemed to pause, as if listening. Beyond the city walls, the hills rolled out gently toward the horizon. Olive groves swayed like silver waves beneath the fading light. The sun, round and tired, dipped lower behind Mount Lycabettus. A faint blush of pink and violet stretched across the sky, the first sign of night's gentle arrival. A young traveler walked slowly along the dusty road leading up from the agora. His sandals left soft prints in the golden dust. He carried nothing but a small satchel and a calm heart. Each step echoed faintly in the air, blending with the quiet rhythm of the evening. He stopped to look back at the city. From this hill, Athens looked like a dream, pale, glowing, and still. The great statues stood in silence, their faces calm and knowing. Smoke rose lazily from small fires, drifting into the violet sky. Everything felt timeless, as if the world itself were holding its breath. A shepherd's flute played somewhere in the distance. The melody was slow and tender, curling through the warm air like a lullaby. The traveler listened for a while, letting the sound wash over him, soft as memory. He took a deep breath. The scent of the earth, of flowers, of ancient stone filled his chest. The air itself felt alive, as if whispering secrets from centuries past. The traveler smiled faintly. This was not just a city. It was a place where time walked slowly, hand in hand with dreams. As the last light of the sun slipped away, the traveler sat down beside an old olive tree. Its leaves shimmered in the dimming glow. The ground beneath him was cool and smooth. Above, the sky began to darken, brushing gently into deep blue. He leaned back, resting his head against the tree's rough bark. The wind grew softer now, carrying only the scent of the coming night. A single star appeared, trembling faintly above the horizon. The traveler's eyes followed it, and his thoughts grew quiet. The first whispers of night had arrived, tender and slow. The sounds of the city were fading, replaced by the hush of the wind and the soft song of the crickets. Somewhere, a temple bell chimed once, low and distant. Athens was falling into peace, and beneath that wide, deepening sky, the traveler closed his eyes, ready to listen to the silence that only night could bring. The night deepened softly over Athens, as if the sky had lowered a velvet curtain of blue. Lamps burned in gentle rows along the narrow streets, glowing like golden stars on earth. A light wind wandered between the homes, brushing against linen curtains and clay walls. It carried faint traces of bread, honey, and figs from evening tables left half cleared. In the agora, the market was quiet now. Empty stalls stood like resting guardians, their baskets empty, but their air still warm with the memory of voices and trade. A cat moved gracefully between the shadows, its steps silent against the smooth stones. Its eyes glimmered like twin amber lights, curious and calm beneath the soft lamp glow. The traveler walked slowly through the sleeping streets. His footsteps echoed softly, blending with the rustle of wind and the distant hum of the sea. Nothing hurried, nothing pressed. Above him, the sky had become a deep ocean of indigo. Each star shimmered faintly, as though breathing. Their light touched rooftops, olive trees, and marble with tender fingers. He paused near a fountain at the square's edge. The water sang gently, falling over smooth stone, its rhythm steady and endless. The sound felt ancient, older than the city itself. He cupped his hands beneath the cool flow and let the water slip between his fingers. It shimmered in the lamplight, catching tiny stars in its ripples before returning to stillness. Around him, everything glowed faintly. The white steps, the olive branches, the sleeping city walls. It felt as though the night itself had wrapped Athens in a soft embrace. A group of young musicians sat near the fountain, plucking quiet notes from their lyres. The tune rose and fell like breath, light as drifting smoke in the calm, golden air. Their song was not for the crowd, but for the stars. A melody of rest, of the day's end, of hearts unwound by peace. Even the air seemed to listen and hum along. The traveler leaned against a stone pillar, eyes half closed. Each note seemed to float through him, soothing the last edges of wakefulness. The sound felt round, endless, whole. Somewhere, a child laughed softly, then vanished into silence. The city returned to stillness, breathing in rhythm with the soft pulse of the music and the whispering wind. The traveler looked up. Above the temple roofs, the stars shimmered brighter now. Countless, gentle, unhurried. They hung like silver dust scattered across the dark blue sky. He felt as though the heavens were watching quietly, smiling over the calm city below. Every sound, every light, every breath was part of a quiet song of rest. And so, under that soft, ancient sky, the traveler walked on, through still streets and sleeping gardens, until he reached the hill that looked out across all of Athens. The lamps below flickered faintly now, like reflections of constellations. The air smelled faintly of the sea, cool and sweet. The world had grown slow, steady, serene. He sat upon a smooth rock and listened to the silence once more. Around him, crickets sang. Far away, waves whispered. The night had found its perfect rhythm. Gentle and whole, Athens slept. The stars shimmered, and beneath their endless quiet, the traveler let his thoughts drift away, until only the sound of his own slow breathing remained. The traveler reached the edge of the city, where the marble faded into soil. Here, the olive trees grew close together, their silver leaves trembling softly in the breeze. The moon hung low above them, full and calm, brushing their branches with pale light. Shadows moved slowly across the ground, long and gentle, like ripples over still water. He followed a narrow path that curved between the trees. Each step released a faint scent, a mix of earth, wood, and the sweetness of distant figs resting in the night air. Owls watched from their perches, their eyes bright but peaceful. Their quiet hoots echoed faintly, blending with the hum of insects and the soft sigh of wind. The traveler stopped by a small stone wall. Beyond it lay fields that stretched toward the sea, their grasses swaying faintly, whispering secrets that only the night could hear. He sat there for a while, feeling the cool stone beneath his palms. The air was alive but unhurried. Every sound seemed to move in time with his slow, steady breath. A distant shepherd's flute floated across the hills. The notes were low, wandering, tender, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. Each sound faded slowly, resting on the breeze. The traveler closed his eyes. The music seemed to carry memories older than words. The warmth of the sun, the laughter of rivers, the stillness of ancient days. When he opened them again, he saw the leaves above him trembling with silver light. The moon's glow touched each branch, as though blessing the forest with its quiet grace. He reached out and ran his hand along the rough bark of a nearby tree. It felt solid and ancient, yet gentle, like something that had always been there, waiting. Tiny fireflies began to appear, blinking softly in the air. They drifted among the branches, their lights pulsing like tiny hearts. Each glow seemed to breathe, slow and calm. The whole grove shimmered faintly, a living constellation on the ground. The traveler smiled. The stars above and the lights below seemed to be speaking in one soft, secret rhythm. He listened. The sound of leaves moving together was almost like words, not loud or clear, but kind, endless, full of peace. It sounded like the language of dreams. He leaned back against the tree trunk, feeling its cool strength against his shoulders. The night surrounded him completely now, a blanket of silver and sound. Somewhere nearby, a stream murmured. Its voice was soft and steady, like a long whisper that carried through the roots, through the stones, through the quiet earth itself. The traveler rose and followed the sound, his steps light on the moss. The stream curved gently through the trees, its surface reflecting the moon like liquid glass. He knelt beside it, watching the ripples spread slowly from where his fingers touched the water. The coolness reached into him, easing the last fragments of thought. Above him, a nightingale began to sing, one slow, flowing melody that filled the grove. The song had no hurry, no sadness. It was pure stillness turned into sound, and as the final note drifted away, the traveler breathed deeply. The olive trees whispered again, their leaves shimmering like soft rain. The night was whole, and he was part of it. The traveler followed the stream as it curved gently downhill. The water glimmered in the moonlight, like silver threads stitched into the dark fabric of the earth. A soft breeze carried the scent of wild thyme and fresh water. Each breath felt like a quiet song, a reminder of how still and ancient the night could be. The sound of his footsteps blended with the murmuring stream. Pebbles shifted softly beneath his sandals, making small, hollow clicks that echoed through the still air. As he walked, the trees thinned out, opening into a gentle meadow. The grass swayed lightly under the moon, silver tips bending as if bowing to the quiet rhythm of time. In the distance, he could see faint lights from Athens, tiny sparks glowing on the horizon, like a constellation that had fallen to the earth. He stopped and watched them for a while. The city seemed peaceful from afar, wrapped in silence, its marble temples bathed in pale, ancient light. The traveler sat on a smooth rock near the stream. The moonlight touched his face, soft and cool. It felt like being seen, not by people, but by the night itself. Somewhere nearby, the stream pooled into a small, clear basin. The surface reflected the stars perfectly, as if the sky had descended to rest within the earth. He leaned forward and gazed into it. His reflection shimmered, and broke with each small ripple, dissolving gently into the star's reflection. It felt like a message that everything in the world, from the smallest wave to the tallest mountain, was part of one slow, endless breath. The traveler smiled softly. The night was wide and infinite, but it didn't feel lonely. It felt kind, as though it was quietly holding everything within its calm embrace. He lay back in the grass, looking up at the sky. The stars stretched endlessly above him, patient and steady, watching as they had watched for thousands of years. Each star seemed to hum faintly, not a sound, but a feeling deep in the chest, like the heartbeat of the universe, pulsing slowly through the still night. The stream whispered beside him. The breeze moved through the grass. The scent of time drifted again, sweet and clear. The whole world felt alive and deeply at rest. He closed his eyes and listened. The air, the earth, the stars, everything seemed to breathe together in one quiet rhythm. A rhythm older than words. It was as though the moonlight itself was singing, not to be heard, but to be felt. A lullaby woven from silver, stillness, and time. The traveler's thoughts began to drift, soft and slow. His body felt lighter, as if he too were becoming part of the air, part of the gentle glow of the night. The sound of the stream faded slightly, turning to a distant hush. The wind grew softer, moving only enough to brush the grass and whisper goodbye. And as he lay beneath the ancient stars, wrapped in moonlight and stillness, the traveler felt his breath match the rhythm of the earth. Slow, calm, eternal. The traveler awoke beneath a blanket of moonlight. The stars were still bright, but the air had cooled, carrying the quiet hush of deeper night. Everything around him shimmered softly, wrapped in silver calm. He rose slowly, his hands brushing the dew from the tall grass. The stream beside him glowed faintly, its surface reflecting 1,000 trembling lights, like tiny lanterns floating in stillness. Far ahead, a narrow stone path wound its way toward the hills. It seemed to glow faintly, guiding him forward, each step echoing gently against the quiet of the valley. As he walked, he could hear faint sounds, not voices, but whispers carried by the wind. It was as if the air itself remembered old songs, sung long ago beneath the same moon. The path led toward a grove of olive trees, their twisted trunks silver in the night. The leaves rustled softly, like hands brushing silk. The sound was calm, ancient, alive. Among the trees stood shapes of marble, statues half buried in earth and time, faces serene, gazes lifted upward, as though still watching the stars that had watched them for centuries. The traveler paused beside one statue, a woman with a calm, timeless smile. Her stone fingers held a small bowl where rainwater shimmered, reflecting the pale light of the moon. He touched the cool marble. For a moment, he felt a faint warmth, as though the statue itself still remembered the touch of the sculptor's hand. The pulse of creation beneath the stone, a night bird, called softly from a branch above. Its song was gentle and hollow, carrying through the grove like an echo from a forgotten dream. The traveler listened. Each sound, the breeze, the leaves, the quiet water, seemed to blend together, forming a slow, steady rhythm, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. The air smelled faintly of olive oil and soil, of something old and enduring. The scent wrapped around him, grounding him in a moment that felt endless and unhurried. He wandered deeper into the grove. The statues grew more numerous. Poets, philosophers, gods of thought and wind. Each one seemed half awake, listening to the whispers of the night. He imagined them speaking softly, not with words, but with silence, sharing the quiet wisdom of time, that everything changes, and yet somehow everything remains. The moon hung low above the trees, pale and round. Its light dripped down through the branches, pooling on the ground like spilled silver. Every shadow felt soft and kind. The traveler breathed deeply, feeling his chest rise and fall with the rhythm of the night. Each breath was slow, each heartbeat gentle. The world seemed to breathe with him. A soft wind passed through the grove again, carrying with it faint echoes of laughter, not loud, but distant, warm, like a memory of joy that never truly faded. He sat beneath one of the olive trees, the bark pressed cool against his back. Above, the stars swayed faintly between the leaves, blinking like eyes that never closed. The stream murmured faintly nearby. The statues watched over the grove, still and patient. The night seemed to stretch, timeless and infinite, holding him in its gentle arms. He closed his eyes, feeling the soft pulse of the world around him. And as the breeze brushed his face, it felt almost like a whisper, as if the night itself was telling him, "You are safe here." The moon climbed higher, casting a silvery calm over the valley. The traveler followed the path as it curved gently upward toward a line of soft, rounded hills glowing under starlight. The air grew even quieter here. Only the faint rustle of the olive grove and the whisper of distant water filled the night. His footsteps felt lighter, as if the earth itself carried him. A low mist had gathered along the ground. It moved slowly, curling around stones and roots like a living breath. Each wisp shimmered faintly, catching fragments of moonlight as it drifted. He could see faint shapes in the fog, outlines of old stone walls and crumbled steps, remnants of something ancient. The past seemed to hum softly beneath his feet. A cool breeze brushed against his face, carrying the scent of time and damp marble. It reminded him of temples he had once seen in paintings, silent ruins standing proud under the open sky. He paused beside a column, half broken and covered with moss. Its carvings were faded, but in the moonlight, he could still see faint lines, spirals, waves, and the traces of forgotten letters. The night wrapped around him like silk. The wind whispered between the stones, creating a song so soft and slow that it felt like time itself had stopped to listen. He imagined philosophers once walking these same paths, their robes brushing against stone, their voices low and thoughtful, speaking of stars, truth, and the shape of dreams. Somewhere far above, an owl called once, long and low. Its voice echoed gently across the valley, then faded into the mist. The sound seemed to stretch, then dissolve into quiet. The traveler moved forward again, following the sound of trickling water. It led him to a narrow spring hidden among the rocks. The surface shimmered, reflecting the night sky like a mirror. He knelt beside it, dipping his hand into the cool water. Ripples spread softly outward, bending the reflection of the stars. The movement felt alive, gentle, steady, eternal. The spring song blended with the wind's whisper, forming a kind of music too quiet for instruments, too old for words. It filled the air, soft and full of wonder. He sat there for a while, resting beside the spring. The damp stones pressed against his palms, grounding him in the stillness. Above, the moon drifted through thin, feathery clouds. Each breath he took felt slower, deeper. His heartbeat softened. The world around him pulsed in rhythm. Stars twinkling, water rippling, the earth breathing quietly beneath his feet. He thought about how small and peaceful everything seemed. The hills were gentle, the air forgiving, and even the ruins felt alive, not broken, but resting. Like old souls in sleep, the mist thinned for a moment, revealing a distant horizon. Beyond the hills, faint lights flickered. Perhaps a village, or perhaps just stars reflected in unseen pools. He felt no need to go there. Everything he needed, the quiet, the peace, the soft hum of eternity, was here. The world had slowed into a single, endless sigh. The traveler leaned back, closing his eyes. The sound of the spring lulled him, steady and calm. The air smelled of stone, earth, and night, all things old and kind. And in that silence, between the sigh of the wind and the slow breath of the hills, it seemed that the world whispered once more, "Rest now, wanderer, for the night watches over you." The traveler awoke from a light doze, unsure how long he had rested beside the spring. The air was cooler now, and the mist had lifted. Above him, the stars shone brighter, closer, as if watching him gently. A soft light flickered in the distance. It wasn't the moon or a star, but something moving. He stood, curious but unhurried, and began walking toward it. The path wound through low grass, whispering beneath his sandals. The glow grew clearer, small lights drifting slowly through the night air, like lanterns carried by the breeze. Each one shimmered faintly gold, rising and falling as if breathing. They weren't made of fire or glass. They looked alive, like petals made of light. The traveler watched in awe as dozens floated past him, silent and graceful, leaving trails that shimmered for a heartbeat, then disappeared. The wind stirred, soft and warm now, carrying the faint scent of citrus and honey. The lanterns seemed to follow its flow, dancing together in slow spirals, rising toward the stars. He followed them up a small ridge where the view opened wide. From here, the city of Athens shimmered far below, its marble temples glowing pale beneath the moon. But the traveler's eyes stayed with the lights. The lanterns moved in a rhythm, as though some invisible melody guided them. They swayed, dipped, and turned in perfect silence. He imagined each one was a thought, a dream, or a forgotten wish set free into the air. He reached out to touch one as it drifted near. It hovered for a moment, trembling like a soap bubble. When his fingers brushed it, warmth spread through him. Soft, comforting, ancient images flickered in his mind. People long gone, laughter from old markets, waves against the Piraeus shore. the scent of freshly baked bread. Then the light drifted away, carrying those memories into the dark. The traveler smiled faintly. It felt as though the past itself had brushed against him, not to haunt, but to remind him that everything, even memory, can be gentle. The night deepened. More lanterns rose, filling the air like golden fireflies. The sky shimmered with motion, but the sound remained still. No rustle, no hum, only peace. He sat again, watching the golden drift. The hill beneath him was soft with moss, and the air hummed faintly, as if the stars were singing in voices too slow for humans to hear. The moon's glow mingled with the lanterns, painting the traveler's face with pale light. His eyes grew heavy, but he did not close them. He wanted to stay awake just a little longer, to see this wonder fade. In that quiet hour, the whole world seemed to breathe together. The sky, the wind, the trees, even the stones, pulsed in one calm rhythm. He could feel it through the ground, through his heartbeat, through the air itself. The lanterns began to rise higher, slowly disappearing into the heavens. One by one, they became stars again. Or perhaps they always had been. The traveler watched until the last one faded. Silence followed, complete and deep. Yet it was not empty. It was full of the soft presence of everything. The earth below, the stars above, and the quiet pulse of night itself. He exhaled a long, steady breath and lay back against the grass. The sky arched over him, vast, silver, eternal. The lanterns were gone, but their warmth lingered in his chest, a memory glowing gently like embers. The wind whispered across the ridge, carrying the soft murmur of olive trees below. He listened as their leaves rustled like pages of an old book, turning slowly. The night was reading him a story without words. And there, beneath the endless stars, the traveler drifted once again toward stillness, his mind quiet, his heart unburdened, the lanterns of the wind fading into dream. The traveler walked slowly down from the ridge. The golden lights were gone now, but their peace stayed with him. The air felt soft and deep, like the world was wrapped in a gentle dream. Below, the streets of Athens were quiet. The market, the agora, slept under moonlight. Empty stalls stood in perfect stillness, baskets overturned, tables bare. The marble floor reflected the pale glow of the moon like calm water. He stepped between the columns, hearing the faint echo of his sandals against the stone. Each sound lingered, then faded, as if the night itself was listening. A small breeze drifted through, carrying the scent of old wood, honey, and olive oil. The traveler smiled faintly. These were the smells of the day, now turned into memories resting in the dark. The statues that watched over the agora looked softer under moonlight. Their faces, carved in perfect calm, seemed to breathe. Shadows traced their eyes and lips, giving them the quiet grace of sleep. The traveler stopped before one, a figure of Athena, her stone shield resting at her side. Her expression was not stern, but gentle. He bowed his head slightly, not out of fear, but respect. For a moment, he imagined her stepping down from her pedestal, her voice like the whisper of wind over marble. Rest, it would say. The city dreams, and so may you. He continued walking, past the empty stalls and quiet fountains. The water inside shimmered like liquid glass. When he leaned over, he saw his reflection, peaceful, unhurried, surrounded by light. The traveler knelt beside the fountain, dipping his fingers into the cool water. Tiny ripples spread outward, breaking the moon's reflection into hundreds of silver fragments. Each one drifted slowly away, like stars scattered across a pond. He stayed there for a while, breathing in the night. The hum of distant crickets filled the silence, a soft rhythm that matched the calm beat of his heart. In the shadows nearby, a cat moved quietly along a wall, its eyes catching the moonlight. It paused, watching him for a moment before disappearing again into the stillness. The city around him felt alive. Even in sleep, the air carried the weight of stories, the laughter of merchants, the footsteps of philosophers, the whispers of poets who once stood here beneath the same stars. He felt connected to them, not by time, but by silence. The same peace that filled him had once filled them too. The same moon had shone above their dreams. The traveler lay down near a column, resting his head on his folded arm. The stone beneath him was cool, but not cold. He could feel the steady pulse of the earth through it, calm and eternal. He looked up again at the stars. The sky seemed wider now, endless and kind. The wind brushed gently through the agora, turning the leaves of a nearby tree. Their sound was soft as breathing. The traveler's eyelids grew heavy. The world around him blurred. Marble, light, wind, and shadow blending into one quiet color. His last thought before sleep was simple: that peace is older than time, and silence holds more stories than words ever could. As he drifted deeper into rest, the agora shimmered softly under the moon. The statues stood guard, the fountains whispered, and the night wrapped the traveler in a gentle, ancient calm. And above it all, the stars kept watch, their silent glow a promise that the night would last, unbroken and serene. The traveler woke slowly, as if rising from the bottom of a calm sea. The air was cool, still, and filled with the scent of olive trees and night jasmine. A pale ribbon of dawn touched the sky, but the stars still lingered, faint and patient. He sat up beside the quiet fountain. The water shimmered with the last light of the moon, moving softly like silk. The city was silent, not yet awake, and everything seemed to breathe in one slow rhythm. A soft wind passed through the agora, stirring the leaves of the fig trees. The traveler listened. Each sound, a whisper, a rustle, a sigh, felt sacred, as if the earth itself spoke in sleep. He rose to his feet and looked toward the Acropolis. Its pale steps shone under the fading stars, each one bathed in silver light. It seemed to call him gently, like a dream, asking to be remembered. The path upward was quiet and steep. The traveler walked slowly, his sandals brushing against the smooth marble. The stone still held the night's coolness, soothing beneath his feet. As he climbed, he could hear the faint murmur of doves awakening in the rafters. Their coos were soft and rhythmic, blending with the distant sound of the sea. It was the voice of Athens, peaceful and timeless. Halfway up the hill, he paused. Below him, the city lay wrapped in blue mist. The roofs, the olive groves, the sleeping streets, all were folded beneath a veil of dawn. The traveler closed his eyes and breathed deeply. The air tasted of salt and stone, of history and silence. He felt small and infinite at once, standing between earth and sky. When he opened his eyes again, the temple of Athena stood before him. Its columns glowed faintly in the early light, each one tall and strong, like a guardian of peace. The traveler stepped closer, the sound of his movement soft and respectful. He could feel the centuries resting here, the footsteps of poets, the prayers of wanderers, the hush of wind that had never stopped. At the base of the temple, a single olive tree grew, old, twisted, and full of silver-green leaves. Its branches moved gently in the wind, scattering faint drops of dew that shimmered like tiny stars. He touched its bark. It was rough and warm, as if alive with memory. He whispered a quiet greeting, feeling the calmness of the tree flow through his fingertips and into his heart. The first light of dawn reached the marble steps, turning them from silver to gold. Birds began to sing, their voices soft and clear, rising like threads of sunlight into the sky. The traveler sat at the top of the stairs. From here, the city looked eternal. Peaceful roofs, shining sea, endless horizon. The world was waking, but gently, like a dream that doesn't want to end. He let his thoughts drift. The hum of life below, the light above, the wind in the olive leaves, all melted together into one slow song. As he listened, he felt his heartbeat match the rhythm of the morning. Each breath, each sound, each shimmer of light became part of the same quiet peace. He smiled faintly, not from joy or sadness, but from stillness. The world needed no reason to be beautiful. It simply was, vast, silent, and full of stars that had fallen into the heart of Athens. The traveler closed his eyes again. The warmth of dawn touched his face, and the marble beneath him felt like the earth's gentle hand. He knew he had reached the place where dreams and waking met, where time slowed and peace had no end. The traveler rested beneath the old olive tree. Its roots curled through the marble like veins of time. A soft light poured through its silver leaves, falling in ripples over his hands. The air was cool and hushed, as if listening. He leaned back against the trunk. The bark felt warm and alive, humming faintly under his palm. The wind passed through the branches with a sigh, gentle, steady, and ancient, like a voice remembering. The traveler closed his eyes. He could hear the whispers of leaves brushing together, soft as lullabies. They spoke of seasons long gone, of rain that kissed the earth, of stars that watched in silence. Somewhere below, the sea breathed against the shore, a slow, endless rhythm. The sound blended with the rustle of the tree until it felt like one long exhale from the world itself. The traveler smiled faintly. Every sound seemed to carry a story. Every gust of air was a hand brushing away the dust of time. He let the stillness seep deeper into his chest. A bird fluttered down from the branches. A small dove, pale and calm. It landed beside him, pecking gently at the ground. Its coo was soft, low, and kind. The traveler watched it for a while, not moving. The bird tilted its head as if studying him, then spread its wings and vanished into the blue. Its feathers caught the light, turning gold for a moment before fading into distance. He listened to its flight until the sound disappeared. Then came silence again, vast, rich, alive. The kind of silence that feels like music without notes. The leaves continued to whisper above him, slow and patient. Their movements cast small shifting shadows across his face, like the brush of dreams drifting by. The traveler began to feel light, almost weightless. The edge between his thoughts and the world softened. He could no longer tell where the wind ended and his breath began. He imagined the tree's roots reaching deep into the earth, drinking from hidden springs. He imagined its branches stretching into the sky, touching the stars that once guided sailors and poets. Somewhere between root and star, he found himself. A quiet heartbeat in the middle of the world's great sleep. He thought of Athens below, its quiet streets now waking with morning light. Somewhere, bells would soon ring, doors would open, voices would rise. But here, in this high place, time was still. The tree whispered again, a long, slow rustle that sounded almost like words. He didn't need to understand. He only needed to listen. Each breath felt deeper, slower. His body sank into the marble, as if becoming part of the mountain itself. The world around him moved softly, like a dream turning over in sleep. He could feel the warmth of sunlight climbing higher through the branches. It glowed through the leaves, painting everything in shades of gold and green. And for a long, timeless moment, he simply existed between sky and stone, between light and wind, held in the quiet language of the olive tree. The breeze brushed past once more, cool and kind, carrying with it a faint scent of salt and rosemary. The traveler smiled and let his eyes close again. The temple, the hill, the city, all drifted gently into one. There was no border between them, only peace. And somewhere deep within the whispering leaves, the traveler felt it, the quiet heartbeat of the world, steady and eternal, calling him softly toward rest. The sky over Athens was now turning a deep shade of blue, not the darkness of night, but the first quiet light of dawn, pale and silver, spreading like a breath across the horizon. The traveler stirred beneath the olive tree. The air was cool and tender, carrying the scent of earth and distant water. Every sound was softer now, a faint hum of awakening, a whisper of feathers far away. He rose slowly, feeling the marble still warm from the dreams of the night. The temple around him glowed faintly, its pillars kissed by the first light. It felt as though the stones themselves were remembering something sacred. Below, the city still slept. Roofs shimmered with a fine dust of morning mist. The world was so still that he could almost hear the stars fading. A soft silence between one breath and the next. The traveler stepped closer to the edge of the hill. From there, he could see the sea, endless, silver, calm. Its waves moved like gentle sighs, breathing in rhythm with the waking earth. He closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. The wind brushed his face, cool and kind. It carried the faint sound of temple bells from somewhere far away. A delicate melody floating through the still air. For a moment, he imagined the Athens of long ago. The poets walking beneath lantern light, voices murmuring in quiet rhythm, the hum of thought drifting through open courtyards. It was a city of ideas, but also of dreams. And now, under this same sky, he felt those dreams still alive, quiet, soft, unchanged. They lived in the stones, in the olive leaves, in the morning air that shimmered like memory. The light grew stronger, painting the marble in gold. The traveler watched as the first rays touched the temple columns. They lit up like pillars of honey and fire, glowing against the fading stars. He stood there, motionless, bathed in that gentle glow. Each second felt like a lifetime unfolding in silence. Every sound, every distant bird, every whisper of wind seemed part of one great calm breath. The olive tree behind him rustled softly. A few pale leaves drifted down, spinning through the light. They settled at his feet like small golden feathers. He bent and picked one up. It was smooth, cool, perfect. A small piece of the night that had turned to morning. He held it for a moment, then let it fall again. The breeze carried it away, down toward the city. It twirled and shimmered until it disappeared into the quiet streets below. The traveler smiled faintly. He felt no need to speak, no wish to move. The world felt whole, balanced, and endlessly kind. The Acropolis glowed brighter now. The temple stood tall, still and luminous. It seemed to breathe with the earth itself, each pillar rising and falling with the rhythm of the wind. He sat once more beneath the olive tree. The sunlight warmed his face, gentle and patient. The city below began to wake, but up here, time remained soft and slow. Every moment stretched into forever. Every breath was calm. Every sound the breeze, the doves, the faraway sea. Folded into silence, the traveler leaned back and closed his eyes again. The warmth of morning wrapped around him like a blanket. The whisper of the olive tree faded into the rhythm of his breathing. Somewhere beyond the sky, the stars rested too, hidden in daylight, waiting for night to return. The traveler thought of them, quiet lights above the world, watching, patient, eternal. He whispered a thank you, not in words, but in stillness, to the city, the sea, and the stars. Then he let go of the thought entirely. The light shimmered over the marble one last time before softening into calm, endless peace. The morning light rested gently upon the stones, warm and forgiving. The city below began to hum with life again. But here on the hill, everything still moved at the slow rhythm of sleep. The traveler remained beneath the olive tree, eyes half closed, body still. The air around him shimmered softly, a veil of golden mist drifting between light and shadow. A small breeze passed through the temple columns, making a faint sound like distant voices, or maybe just the air remembering its own music. It was the kind of sound that lingered after silence. The traveler breathed deeply. Each inhale felt like drawing in the world, each exhale like releasing the weight of time. His heartbeat slowed. His thoughts faded like footprints in sand. Above him, the sky was vast and pale. The last traces of night still glimmered faintly in its depths. Not gone, only hidden, waiting for another quiet hour to return. The olive leaves stirred again. They caught the sunlight and scattered it across the marble in small dancing flecks of light. The traveler watched them flicker like tiny golden dreams. Far below, a bell chimed from a distant courtyard. Its tone was soft and low, barely reaching this high. It drifted up the hillside, blending with the murmur of the breeze. The traveler imagined the sound washing over the city, through streets and arches, across markets and doorways, touching every life with a brief, sacred stillness. He smiled. There was peace in knowing the world was waking. And yet up here, he could stay suspended between sleep and morning. The warmth of the sun deepened. The marble glowed like honey, the air sweet with earth and olive. Every detail, every color, every breath felt softened by kindness. The traveler rested his head back against the tree. The bark was cool and rough against his skin, grounding him in this place, in this moment that felt outside of time. His eyes grew heavier. The sound of the wind slowed to a whisper. Even the sunlight seemed to quiet itself, wrapping him in a steady, endless calm. Somewhere in that half-dreaming space, he imagined the garden below, the same one he'd walked through the night before, where petals had fallen like snow. He saw them now, drifting again, but slower this time, each one glowing faintly, like a small lantern descending through the air. They floated across the sea of his thoughts, settling softly over his heart. There was no weight, no worry, only rest. The world dimmed again, not from darkness, but from peace. The lines between things began to blur. Sky, stone, sea, self, all blending into a single stillness. The temple bells rang once more, lower, slower, fading. The traveler heard them only as echoes through his dream. The stars, though hidden, seemed to hum faintly in the far-off blue, their light now part of him. He drifted, deeper now, through warmth, through breath, through silence. The olive branches above swayed gently, cradling him in their quiet rhythm. The air smelled of morning light and sleep. Everything was calm. Everything was still. The city, the sea, the sky, all breathing together in perfect harmony. And as the last sound faded, the traveler's thoughts melted completely into peace. The light shimmered once more over the marble and slowly dissolved, leaving behind only the hush of the wind and the eternal quiet of dawn. Thank you for joining me tonight for this quiet walk through ancient Athens, beneath the gentle light of timeless stars. The city is resting now. The air is still, and the last whispers of night drift softly through the olive trees. You've listened and wandered, and now it's time to let go. Breathe slowly. Let your body sink deeper into the bed beneath you. Feel the warmth around you. Calm, safe, and quiet. The world outside can wait. Right now, there is only this stillness. Only you, floating in peace. If sleep hasn't come yet, don't chase it. It will find you. The same way the tide finds the shore, gentle and sure. Until next time, stay calm, stay relaxed, and stay sleepy. Good night.